With us in the studio today to talk about how big data analysis is transforming science is Dr. Tim Conrad. He's a researcher at the Zuse Institute Berlin. Thank you for being with us today. All right, so we know that you're using biocomputing to diagnose diseases like cancer early on. So what does that have to do with big data?
Well, I think the main idea about the research we are doing here is that we have a lot of data, so what people usually call big data, which we have as a readout from, say, blood data. So we look at blood and we look at all the little proteins which are actually inside that blood, doing the work in your body actually. And these are not only 10 or 50 or 30 parameters like it used to be like 5 or 10 years ago, but now we talk about 100 or 200 million of different data points we're getting from that data source. And this is what makes it big at the end of the day.
Okay, and how is this helping you in your research? How far have you come so far?
Well, the interesting thing we noticed over the last couple of years of research actually is that although you do have now, say, 100 million data points in this one source, say blood in this particular case, it's only, say, a couple of hundreds which actually give you information what's going on in your body if you're interested in a particular thing, like, say, early cancer detection. And this is in contrast to what happened before, where you just saw something's happening, didn't know exactly what. Now we can even nail it down to a particular, say, reactions what are going wrong.
All right, what methods are you using to deal with these large amounts of data?
What we did, or what also people around the world are doing, is that we're interested in new statistical methods that we need to develop to deal with these big corpus of data in this case. And one of the things is what's called compressed sensing. So the main idea is that actually when you get the data from the machine, you don't really store everything and then analyze it step by step, but actually just get a filtered version of that already from the machine. And then you can use different methods afterwards to actually look at this pre-filtered data.
All right, and let's talk about using the machines. What are the machines that you're using? Does this require special computers?
No. So the machines that we're using is actually something called mass spectrometry, or mass spectrometer, which is a big scale if you want. So you put the blood there and then it measures all the parts inside the blood and give you a weight for all these particles in there. And then this is the readout you get from the machine. And that can be transformed to which protein is actually in this data set, in this blood you got.
All right, who else is using big data?
There are, I guess, numerous examples around the world. I think in the movie we just saw was climate data research. A lot of people in medical research are using big data, and the list goes really on and on. So there's a lot of things happening there.
All right, let's talk about the issue of privacy. With so much information out there in terms of big data, how can we prevent personal data from being abused?
Well, that's actually a tough question. I think the easiest thing you can do is really encrypt your data, all right? So make it secure that no one actually, even though he might get it from somewhere, can't use it. And the other really simple option is just don't share with anybody, right? Just have it on your computer. Don't connect that computer to any other public network. Just leave it at home if you want.
But not many people are doing that these days.
Probably not.
People are sharing everything these days. But then what will ultimately happen to all that information that is out there in cyberspace?
Really interesting question. I guess at some point in time we will not be able to store anything anymore. So we need then to decide which of these we want to keep actually and which simply to throw away.
All right, and finally, what areas in science are going to benefit the most from using big data?
I guess from my perspective, it's certainly medical research because there's a lot of things we don't really know about the system, human in this case. Climate is a wonderful idea where this data can be applied to. So these two, from the top of my head, I would actually rank very, very high up.
Okay, Tim Conrad, we thank you very much for being our guest today here on Tomorrow Today.